Hey, folks, this is the True American Podcast. Glad to be with you again. And most of you are probably already aware of this controversy, so-called controversy, taking place around Dr. Kevin Cosby's statement he made maybe a few days ago about Deion Sanders, Deion leaving Jackson State, going to a university in Colorado or Colorado University, and Dr. Cosby, I personally think mistakenly said, he hopes that Deion Sanders fails in his new assignment. And I say it wasn't quite the right thing to say. He misspoke because, later on, Dr. Cosby apologized, retracted the statement, and gave a fuller statement. And if you read that fuller statement, I really urge you to do that. Dr. Cosby was able to more clearly articulate and focus on what he's trying to say and why he said it that way. And what Dr. Cosby's raising is extremely important. So really, I'm saying to thoughtful folk, people, black or white, who are truly about uplifting the black community, read Dr. Cosby's statement. You can go to Google, Yahoo, put in the search engine, Kevin Wayne Cosby, whatever. And you can find that statement. I don't have the web address in front of me right now. Some later point, I'll put that out there. I did read the statement, and as usual, it's brilliant. You can say what you want to say about Dr. Cosby, but the guy's a brilliant writer. I have a lot of respect for his writing. I have a lot of political and theological differences with him, but I know that man to be a brilliant thinker and writer. And you got to read what he says. This has nothing to do with jealousy or envy. Deion Sanders is a king. Kevin Wayne Cosby is a king. They are equal on that level. That's just it. That's just a fact. Kevin's accomplishments are comparable to Deion Sanders' accomplishments, and Deion Sanders' accomplishments are comparable to Kevin Wayne's accomplishments. You just got two kings. It's sort of like you got Winston Churchill over there in England, then you got FDR here in the United States. They're comparable. And one thing I want to say, my whole objective here is to say to the Deion Sanders camp and the Kevin Cosby camp, those two kings need to come together. Just like FDR and Winston Churchill had to come together and talk, those two kings need to come together and talk. We can do all the talking you want to do through social media, print media, etc. But it makes all the difference in the world when the two kings actually come together face to face. And knowing Kevin Cosby the way I do, he's probably already doing some reaching out to Deion. Okay? And hopefully Deion is responding to that. But I just want to go out there and make a public appeal to both those camps, make that happen. This is not what's being raised and discussed. The substance of what's being raised and discussed is not about personalities. It has nothing to do with, Kevin's jealous of Deion, or Deion's he portrayed black folk. No, that's junk. All that personal stuff. All right, that's the way the white cultural Marxist wants us as a people to think. No, we need to be talking about policies. We need to be talking about institution building. We need to be talking about how great men come together and discuss what they can do together, how they can support one another, all in the interest of pushing black folk forward. It has nothing to do with racism, misogyny, transphobia. What is the other nonsense these white cultural Marxists bring up? All that stuff is trivial. We need to be focused on the kingdom of God and uplifting black folk in the United States of America. All that other stuff, I called it trivial, but what I mean is that those aren't the main issues. Those aren't the main concerns. Those aren't the main problems facing black folk in the United States of America. If some black dude wants to run around in a daggone dress and claim or think he's a woman now, that's his business. I think they call that RuPaul. RuPaul's been doing it for a long time. RuPaul's made some good money. I ain't got nothing against RuPaul. God bless you, RuPaul. You keep doing what you're doing, bro. Keep making that money. I ain't mad at you. You got some other black idiots out here talking about, Herschel Walker and Daniel Cameron, they're not real black men because they're conservatives. What? That's so stupid. We can't even put that on the agenda. Dude, go out in the hallway, go out in the backwoods and talk that nonsense. What the heck are you talking about? Why don't you go read books like J.A. Rogers, World's Great Men of Color 1 and 2? Why don't you read Dr. John Franklin's books, from slavery to freedom? Okay? Because we don't know what nonsense you're talking about, but it's just nonsense. But that's not on the agenda. Here's what's on the agenda. Kingdom building, institution building in the black community. And those two kings need to get together. Just like there was a crisis out there in Europe, this crazy white boy called Adolf Hitler, and then the crazy little color boy, Tojo in Japan, and then that nut job in Italy. Those guys are raising some heck. Two great men had to get together and say, hey, how are we going to deal with this? Because not only is this going to negatively impact our respective nations, but it's going to negatively impact the world. How are we going to deal with this? And that's the kind of thing we need to arrange. That's why we need to arrange a meeting between Deion and Kevin. Two kings, two greats, two legends coming together, talking about kingdom building and institution building in Black America. Bump all this personal attack stuff. Oh, Kevin's jealous. Oh, Deion's a betrayer. Shut up. Bump all that stuff. Okay? And so, again, I just want to make my public support for that. And I'm going to say this, too. I don't think the meeting should necessarily be public. I don't think it should be public. I think it should be private, discreet, and productive. There should be an agenda. Maybe Kevin can fly out there. Maybe Deion can fly in here. Maybe they can meet in a joint location. Each one may have people that, I think Deion's engaged. Kevin, as you know, is married. Maybe their wives are involved, but their wives are, in a separate location, doing their thing, talking to one another as first ladies. They're first ladies. The reality is, first ladies talk to first ladies. Presidents talk to presidents. And we should have some sort of clear agenda here. What can we do? What's kingdom building? How can we do it? What are some areas where we can agree and work together? What are some areas we don't agree and can't work together? Well, let's stay focused on what we can do together. We talk about institution building in the Black community. What are some places where we agree? What can we do together? And where are some things we can't do together because we don't agree? That's fine. When Roosevelt and Churchill got together, that's what they had. Folks, they are those two men, those two black men are our FDRs. Those two black men are our Winston Churchills. Okay? I can talk about, I think one thing I can talk about, let's say, in Zimbabwe, during the struggle for independence against the racist minority settler regime there, how at one point Mugabe got with Nkomo, and they became the Patriotic Front. I think that was very important. Later on, Mugabe destroyed that coalition and became a dictator. So, but what I'm trying to say is that, hey, it's important for legends to come together. It's important for kings to come together and say, hey, how can we work together? There's no doubt when Mugabe and Nkomo came together and formed the Patriotic Front, that dramatically accelerated Zimbabwe's move towards independence. It dramatically accelerated the removal of the white colonial settler regime in Zimbabwe. At the time it was called Rhodesia. So, brothers, get together. Please encourage your two camps to make that happen, and please encourage your two camps to put that together and move. Let's move it forward. We need you, brothers. We need you. We need you. Talking to one another and figuring out ways we can work together. We need you to do networking. Because maybe one thing we want to look at is eventually a situation where we get all HBCU presidents or vice presidents or development officers together and just have a real talk about, daggone it, one institution that really needs to be built and strengthened in the black community are HBCUs. And maybe in high schools, in middle schools, and elementary schools, maybe we need to talk about, hey, what's some of this stuff? There've been like a lot of well, let me just stop there. Because that's a long discussion in and of itself. Let me just stay focused. Brothers, Deion Sanders, Kevin Cosby, you're the kings. You're our kings. You're our presidents. You're our prime ministers. You have that stature. You have that kind of position. You have that kind of support and authority. I'm not saying you are the kings or the presidents or the prime ministers. I'm just saying you're at that level. And kings meet with kings. It's perfectly all right for kings to meet with kings and for kings to say, and it's perfectly all right to have those kings have those kind of meetings arranged by your respective camps. Work out all the details. But the general agenda should be kingdom building and institution building in the black community. So I just wanted to make that appeal. God bless you both. I wish you both great success. I have my differences with Kevin Cosby in theology and politics, but daggone, I respect that brother deeply. As far as Deion Sanders is concerned, I have some of my disagreements with him, but I respect him deeply. And I acknowledge the fact that you brothers are doing things for our folk. You just at a whole nother level. We need to fall behind you. And we just need to be respecting you and listening to you and praying that you guys get together. Because when you do get together, it's going to be nothing but positive for black folk and all folk in the United States of America. Not just for black. It's not only going to be positive for black folk when y'all get together and talk, but it's going to be positive for all folk in the United States of America. It's going to be positive for the United States of America, period. I mean, that's just your level of greatness for both of you. That's just your level of greatness. But y'all got to get together, man. Y'all got to get together. Please get together. All right, folks, that's it. The True American Podcast. I will be talking about some other issues with some local political thought leaders and be talking about some serious issues. They're coming up on the horizon as far as education is concerned in the here in Louisville and here in Kentucky. And so, hey, please like, subscribe, share, post, whatever.